Hi, this is Elisa Johnson with the LBD.Project, and I was just going to answer a couple questions that we've been asked about how to take part in this movement to end human trafficking. If you don't know what the LBD.Project is, it's essentially a group of us who choose to wear one black item of clothing each and every single day for the month of March, the same black item. So one question I've recently been asked is about what percentage of our fundraising that we get by fundraising of that money goes actually to the organizations that we're fundraising for, which is a great question. This actually kind of depends per organization, and it's kind of a little bit up to the organizations that we're raising funds with. If you don't know, we always choose a featured organization every year, and we also choose we don't choose. We partner with local nonprofits that do anti-trafficking work, and we do fundraisers for them. So let's first of all talk about the local nonprofits. So if you're fundraising for a local nonprofit, we've worked with that nonprofit to figure out the best way to bring them funding. So if they can do it through their website, that's ideal because then they don't lose any funds. Whereas on the other hand, some of them might not want to deal with all that extra paperwork and tax receipts, in which case we'll use a crowdfunding platform like Crowdrise for an example, because they will do a lot of the tax returns and a lot of the paperwork and keeping track of stuff that's kind of exhausting and burdensome sometimes for a human trafficking nonprofit, and they'll take care of that for them. So in that case, if we use Crowdrise, you might end up losing about 6% of the money, depending on how much the credit card company has taken, how much the platform itself costs to use. There are crowdfunding platforms that, like generosity.org, that do not take any money, but on the other hand, then they don't actually give you any tax receipts or anything like that. So they're nice to use, but credit cards will still take money, but then you could reduce the cost to 3%, but even then it could end up being a lot more work for the nonprofit, in which case the nonprofit might end up doing it through their website anyways. As for our featured organization usually, again, the same thing. We try to work with them to see if they have a preferred method. Often they have a crowdfunding platform on their website because there's a large organization, and we can try to use that if possible. But then sometimes it doesn't end up working out well for us to keep track of how much money we're raising through the Little Black Dress Project or the LBD Project. And also another problem that we run into sometimes through that, depending again on the organization, is that we don't actually get to keep track of who donated. It just ends up going into this lump sum. And unless somebody is really trying to bug them and pay attention, we might miss people who gave on our behalf for the LBD Project, which isn't good because we want to thank everybody who donates $10 to the LBD Project or more, however much they give. We want to thank them, but it's really hard to do if we can't be involved in keeping track with that. So as of right now, this is year 2017. These are the different methods that we've used. We always try to keep the cost as low as possible. The max would be 6% approximately. It might have gone up percentage points or down a little bit. But as much as possible, we try to keep it so that most of the money is going to the organization. On the flip side, we've also had it so people actually just directly donate to the organization via their own website or via check or something like that, in which case they've told us on the side hey, we donated to this organization, and then we keep tally of it ourselves. We just add that onto the LBD Project total. So that's completely a welcome thing to do. As long as people are communicating with you as the person raising funds, that's awesome, because then you know who's raising funds with you and you can thank them personally. So there's many different ways to do it, and we take a different approach again with each of the nonprofits that we're raising funds for, but our goal is to get that organization as much money as possible, and so we try to work around the system. And as of this time period, we're not able to take money for them ourselves because we are not an official nonprofit. We are still considered just an organization or a movement, and so because of that, we cannot take funds for them without it going through our personal names, which I've done lots of times. People will give me cash and I just donate it in a lump sum via websites. But at the same time, we're working to make it as effective as possible as we raise funds for the organizations that we're raising funds for. If you're raising funds for a specific organization and you want to know particularly how we're raising funds for that organization that year, you're welcome to put in the comments below this video or send us an email at LBD.Project@averageadvocate.com, and we'll get back to you and tell you specifically how that works for whichever organization you're choosing to raise funds for this year. Hope that helps. Again, this is Elisa, founder of the LBD Project, which is a project of Average Advocate. You can go to our website at thelittleblackdressproject.org and learn a lot more about how to be involved in ending slavery during the month of March. All right, bye.